Depression and anxiety is such a touchy subject, but I'm about to touch it. Why? Because it's my story time right now. Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is your boy, Alex Magee. This is my points of perspective. But in this video, it's going to be completely out the norm because I usually don't make topics about me like that. But you know what? I'm about to start doing it. And why not start today? So, it's going to be my story time about my depression and my anxiety, and I'm going to be talking to you about when I think I started getting it and when I was diagnosed with it, and of course, my story. So what you might want to do is you might want to get a snack or something, you might want to get something to drink, if you got an e-cig or whatever, get whatever you got to get yourself comfortable because we're about to dive on in right now. Damn, I never did a story time before. I'm really about to put myself out there for all of y'all. Well, you know what? It's about connecting with y'all because a lot of y'all might can relate with this. So here I go. So in retrospect, right? When I first started having issues was when I was a teenager. So I was like 15 years old. That was when I needed to sit down and speak to a therapist. And don't really know the reasons. I just knew that I held a lot of stuff in and I was the sad dude, you know? 15, breakups, going through a lot of stuff, you know? Sat down with a therapist, spoke to her about not being able to sleep, always being up late at night, sleeping a lot during the day, or more like naps, because I'll be in school just falling asleep at the desk and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And the thing with that was that she was saying that you're depressed. But I don't feel that she diagnosed me with depression during that time. So I'm living my life. I'm still going. 16, got into tons of trouble, fighting, doing whatever I was doing and whatnot. 17, oh man, lots of stuff as well too. You know, I was involved with the typical 17, 18, being out there getting into this trouble, you know, people after me and whatnot. 19, man, 19 was like a real cliff for me, you know, and I had one foot off, the other foot halfway off and whatnot. So it was really tough because the thing was is that I was so far off the edge, I actually had a disregard for the future, you know, lack of a better term. I really don't want to say it over camera and whatnot. So I was trying to speak to a psychiatrist again, and basically it didn't work out for me. You know, like we didn't connect and whatnot, and it just didn't work. So I found my spirituality. I got into meditating. I started believing in intuition and stuff like that. And I was okay for a good while. You know what I mean? But I felt deep down inside of me that something was wrong with my psyche because I wasn't shedding tears. If I got bad news and whatnot, I didn't have the ability to cry. And the thing was is that I held things deep inside. Like I was always, I can't say always depressed, but I was depressed, you know? Like I can randomly think of something, get depressed. And I held on to things. Like I can be just this sad Debbie Down dude for like a grip. But the thing was is that during that time, I was such an extrovert and whatnot. I always wanted to be social. I always wanted to be happy. I always wanted to be around people. But I would mask it with alcohol during those days. You know, as long as I was around a bottle, I was happy. You know, I was just, like, yo, I'm good. Like, I'm living it up. I'm great. You know? But times when I was sober, it was like, life. And that wasn't cool. And during those days, I wasn't reflecting enough to be like, yo, I have an issue. Something's wrong. You know, I just kept going. And then I was in a relationship during that time was that I was in such a haze in my own way. There was so many red flags that I was like just ducking and dodging and weaving. I was like, I didn't care to see, basically. I was like, so what? I don't care. It's right in front of my face smacking me, but it didn't faze me, you know, until it was too late, basically. I ain't gonna put the person's name out there and whatnot. It's about That's kind of like a fluff, but still connected to the depression and whatnot. So then after me and her broke it off, I still was like, had no interest, in terms of like things with life and whatnot. I was working at this job called Good Times. A lot of people from the Massachusetts area do know about Good Times. And I was just still just loving the liquor, loving alcohol and whatnot. Like that's at the time was what I cared about. Liquor in my banging system. You know what I mean? And of course the people that I love. But I couldn't just overcome this feeling of sadness that I had for myself, So I'm going in this haze, but I still practice my spirituality and whatnot, and I'm trying to practice positivity to the point that I'm preaching it to others. But when it comes to myself, I'm like, I'm not convincing myself. I'm convincing the people that's around me, but not me. And it should be for me, So by the time I get to 30, I'm like, man, I still feel this way. I'm pretending to be happy, but I'm not, So there's an issue with that. But I still work out this kinks and whatnot because pain in life is guaranteed, but suffering is optional. And I'm like, okay, so it's not gonna last forever. The sun will shine one day for me. It's all good, Even one of my best friends, Keyshawn, I was like, yo, this feeling that I have, I know is gonna end. This sadness, this sorrow and whatnot is probably just self-inflicted. I don't know why my mind is this way, I'll be good. So next thing you know, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And that's when depression really started kicking my ass. Because when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I developed this condition called ketoacidosis. And in one of my YouTube videos, I'll link up right here and whatnot. Ketoacidosis is when your blood becomes acidic and your organs basically, it kind of start rejecting itself. Kind of deadly, like if you're not careful and you don't get medical treatment from this, you can pass, you can pass away from it. So after I got treated for that and I got better, I had to learn how to manage my diabetes and stuff like that. And it was still weighing on me, like changing how I eat. And even if I worked out to a certain point, then my blood sugars would go low. So it was depressing for me because the thing is that one of my comforts was food. I loved it. At one point I was 420 pounds. So you definitely know food was my comfort. So I couldn't just go to food anymore. I had to push that to the side. And drinking was my comfort. I couldn't go to that anymore because as a diabetic, you really have to be careful with how you drink. Had to push that to the side as well too. So now what do I have for comfort? That's what I was thinking in my head. So I can't go to food, I can't go to liquor. What do I have now? So basically what ended up happening to me is I became more inward. I became more to myself. So the Alex Magee that was once an extrovert is now an introvert. I'm now to myself. I now barely want anything to do with anybody. I just want me, myself, and I. You get me? So I started getting more into this depression. But the thing is that I was still able to fake it. I still had this mask on. Because for some reason in my head, I'm thinking this whole, I can't say I was taught toxic masculinity, but the thing is that I recognize it because a lot of places that I went to, I seen it, like so many homeboys and whatnot. Yo, you gotta lift up your nuts. Yo, you gotta speak with bass in your voice. You gotta do this and do that. You gotta be macho. You can't show weakness. You gotta show strength. That's what makes a man. So that's what I was used to seeing when it came to a lot of peers that I used to have. Like, I didn't know how to go up to somebody and be like, hey, I'm having a weak moment. What should I do? Or I need a vent. I need help. Like I need your ear for me to speak to. It was almost hard for me to make this video because of that thinking is still there. Like when it comes to, is it safe for me to say our culture? It's hard to be like, hey, yo, dog, listen, I'm weak. I need you to have my back for a second. Nah, not any crazy favors. You don't gotta take me to the store. I just need your ear. I just gotta talk. So to continue on, right? I ended up having ketoacidosis for the total of 3 times. A lot of diabetics don't even get it 1 time. Okay? So, 3 times. Then the next thing you know, I decided in my head, like, I have to do something about this. I have to get rid of this diabetes because it's killing me physically and it's also killing me mentally. So I have to do something. So I decided, you know what? I have to get my weight loss surgery done. Yes, I'm telling the whole world, whoever peeped this, I had it done, right? So I had to speak to the weight loss surgery psychiatrist as well too. Kind of lied, you know? I was like, no, I have no depression, but I know I did. You know, I had that done. But at the same time, before I had it done, I also developed vertigo. That, I can't even tell you how it happened. You know, even that little head shake that you see me do, it increased my dizziness. But it's hard for me not to do my everyday things because the thing is that my head nods, yes, no, when I'm speaking to people, that's part of my personality, you know, and that's where my anxiety comes from, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, back to the story. So after I had that surgery done, started losing the weight, I got rid of my diabetes. So I'm like, word, that is what's up. Like, that is great. Like, I'm now down to like 330. I'm going, let's go. Like, I'm grooving, you know. I also have a foot injury from my job too, but I wasn't letting that stop me. That's something I can fight through the pain. I can't do as much. It's been a long time, you know, but I'm still grooving. You know, I don't even care if it's a lifelong injury. I'm still grooving, you know, like diabetes is what was kicking my butt, my ass, you know. I'm not going to censor myself for that. So it was kicking my ass, you know. So next thing you know, vertigo intensifies. January 15th, I'm like, oh snap, this is kicking my ass. So I got rid of one thing just to get another. You know, it's like, yo, it's almost like if, like you know how you watch the sprinters race and then they have the little thing in their hand and then they pass it to the one in front of them and then they sprint even faster? That's kind of like how it happened with me. You know, diabetes handed vertigo the little tube and vertigo just went to a full sprint. Because I've been dealing with vertigo since then. I've been dizzy since then. You know, and it's crazy. So my depression increased because of constantly being dizzy with no breaks. The severity of the vertigo increases, but there haven't been a time where I'm like, yo, it's normal, it's chill, and that's cool, you know? And then my anxiety of wondering if I can walk straight without falling or and some other stuff. I'm not gonna say anything about my driving and whatnot because I'm, you know, grown man. I still gotta get to places where I gotta go. But it sucks. It truly do, you know? So while trying to figure out how and why I have vertigo and whatnot, I also noticed to myself like, yo, I really have to do something about my mental now. You know, it's not just vertigo now. I also have to speak to a psychiatrist. I can't do it like how I did when I was 19 years old where, okay, you know what, I'm not connected. Now I actually have to sit down with somebody and see, hey, we need to talk. I have to speak to you. Because now the severity of it is increasing because now my aggression is higher. You know, my motivation is lower. We gotta do something. We really do. You know, like, I'm such an introvert, it's not even funny. I'm only an extrovert when it comes to speaking and projecting my voice. Like how I am when it comes to like making videos or if I'm speaking to somebody when it comes to something passionate, you know, or if I'm debating on Facebook or arguing politics or something like that. And my channel will never be a politics channel, just to let you know. That's it. Voicing my opinion is the only time that I have an extrovert feature. Alright, so I finally sit down and speak to a counselor. So I go to the clinic. It's a walk-in basically. So You don't have to make an appointment or nothing. Walked in, asked to speak to a counselor, and who do I see there? Is a counselor that I spoken to 20 years ago in high school. So that was kind of surprising to me as well too. She suggested that I speak to somebody in group therapy. So I was like, all right, fine, I'm whatever. Like, by this time, I just need any kind of help, you know? That's what I'm thinking to myself. Because like I stated earlier, my aggression is increasing, thinking dark thoughts. I definitely want to speak to somebody. So that's the route that we're on right now, you know? So we decided to do it, and it didn't resonate with me, not very well, you know? And I mean, I appreciate the counselors there at group therapy, but it's almost as if they was using me to help them run their class. Because when I was there, they noticed that I was good at projecting my voice and speaking to the other people there. So it's like every time that they ask a question or need like a group discussion done, they always called on me first. And to me that was like, but I'm here because I need help, not to help you run your class. So that's basically how it was for me, and I didn't like it. And I was like, yo, you know what? I'm not feeling it. But as a coincidence as well too, my vertigo started messing up. So by day 3, day 4, day 5, couldn't make it. So it was like, dang, like the universe was like, nah, no. This type of therapy for you is a no-no. You know, me, honestly, I prefer one-on-one anyway. So that's gonna be my next route, and that's gonna be done very soon. You know what I'm saying? And while I was there, they actually diagnosed me with severe depression and severe anxiety. That's my story when it comes to that aspect of it. And what I plan to do to deal with it is to continue to seek help. That's what I plan to do on dealing with it. It's still seeking help, not just gonna live with it, not just gonna let it manifest and grow into something bigger, because I still deal with the vertigo. And another thing that's therapeutic for me is making these videos. You know, it's slowly reaching out to y'all. Slowly hearing my friends saying, yo, I like the video that you did. I thank you, I appreciate that. You taught me something new. To me, that's therapeutic for me, to sit down in front of the camera and just to record and then spend time editing whenever I can edit. You know, because sometimes I'll record something and then if my vertigo act up, then I might just release it 2 or 3 days later because I don't even have the willpower to just sit down in front of the laptop or computer and just edit, because it messes with me that much sometimes. You know, I can't, it's hard to even do that. But I appreciate y'all listening to my story. I've been running, this might be the longest video I have done, so it's gonna be tons of editing, you know? But it's out my norm. I usually would say like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, but it's out my norm. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing this often. You know, I usually just talk about social behavior, some type of psychology, and giving my input, my opinion, my perspective on that particular topic that I'm talking about. You know, like, are you stuck in a friend zone? Can you get out of it? How to identify fake friends? Like, that's usually the type of videos that I make, for an example, you know? So y'all take it easy. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.